Hello, hello. It's Sonia coming to you live with Fresh Approach Fitness, a wellness company. We are on our 5th episode, so thank you so very much for joining us and for all of the support that you have given Fresh Approach Fitness to date. It is amazing to see dreams turn into realities, and they're not just my dreams, and they're not just my realities, but in many cases, I'm the one lucky enough to be holding your hand as you're going through and recognizing that your dreams and your successes are becoming reality. So thank you so very much for carving time into your life for Fresh Approach Fitness. I hope everybody that's listening is doing well, that you're staying safe and doing whatever it takes to take care of yourself. I want to ask you, how many of you out there do better when you have locked arms with somebody? Do you thrive when you are in an amazing relationship? Do you thrive at your career when you're loving what you're doing and you're getting recognized for your success? Do you thrive when you hang around with your best friends? Right? Hands up, all around, smiles. You can like this post 6 times over for 2 for each one that I just mentioned there. So today's episode is about better together. And there are so many ways we can incorporate this into our lives, but we're going to take where we're at right now. And I know this all started right after COVID, and we're still running these episodes throughout COVID. And I'm going to be extending these into the future weekly, and maybe even more often than weekly. But the point is, this is something I wanted to do anyway. The timing of us starting these podcasts is completely irrelevant because it was on my to-do list. But I am bringing up COVID for a reason. The reason why I'm bringing up COVID is, especially right now, how are we better together? What are we doing to enhance our day-to-day lives? Or are we still in that same story that we were presented with 4, 5, 6, 8 weeks ago? Whatever that looks like to you, are you still telling yourself the exact same story as to what was true then? It's all about mindset, my friends, and we are in this together. We're on different boats in this great big ocean. We all have different journeys, but our end voyage is the same. Our journey is what we make of it. So today we're going to talk about better together and see what that looks like. We just dabbled into the fact that, when you're living your best life with your partner, you feel elated, and the same holds true when you're hanging out with your best girlfriends. You're laughing, you're relaxed, maybe you're singing, you're dancing, but you're catching up on lives, and you don't want to do anything else. Sorry, it's life, right? No one's saying I'm perfect here by any means, just because I'm doing these podcasts. This is my 5th kick at the can, so I am going to have some interruptions. Last week I had wind as a distraction. And at work, you thrive, you glow. Whenever you're doing your very best, whether you're in a position of serving others, whether you are climbing the corporate ladder, whether you are running a household, it doesn't matter what you're doing. The one thing that does matter is when you thrive, when you do what you love, it shines through. And I know you know what I'm talking about. So how can we make today's life better? Better than it was yesterday? How can you be creating the life you want to be living even now? What can you do to make it a little bit better? So I guess the question to you is, what's holding you back from doing everything I just mentioned? What's holding you back from waking up every morning and living your best morning? Eating the best foods that you can make, buy, create, enjoy. What happens if you shift your focus and shift your thoughts? So Every single thing about today is magical and beautiful. And based on last week's episode, maybe that is too much for you to think about. Maybe you're not there yet. Maybe you just need to take one step first and move forward from there. That's okay. A perfect breakfast for you could be getting up naturally before 8 o'clock in the morning and then having something to eat. That could be a perfect day for you. That's great. A perfect day for somebody else could be having their morning routine done by 8 a.m. so they're ready to leave to go to work a 12-hour shift. It's going to be different. I am here to support each and every single one of you. So as I just mentioned, let's focus on where you're at right now. What is the one thing you would like to do differently tomorrow? Think about that for a second. For me, maybe tomorrow morning, I want to make sure that I eat a super healthy breakfast. And a super healthy breakfast for me is a protein shake, overnight oats, poached eggs, and actually those would be my top 3 for a super healthy breakfast. So if that's my goal for tomorrow morning, what can I do today to take the right steps to bring myself that much closer to the goal for tomorrow? Well, I could make a batch of overnight oats, have them in the fridge, take out the frozen fruit, thaw them in the fridge, and having everything ready to go for tomorrow morning. Absolutely, I could do that. I could know that poached eggs are an option for breakfast, and I could pre-chop everything I need for the smoothie or lay it out. Or maybe I can write all 3 options down on a piece of paper where I will see it first thing in the morning, either by the blender or on the fridge, by the sink, by where I keep my dishes, to remind me of what my priority options are for tomorrow morning's breakfast. Why not? Is that what it's going to take to motivate and inspire you to make the right choices and to make the start of tomorrow 1% better than the start of today? Those 3 things are super simple. They're going to give you energy. The food is going to fill you up. What other benefits are you going to get? You're going to feel successful at the one goal that you set for yourself. How amazing would it be to get up in the morning and start your day off feeling like success? That's why most people make their bed. Did you know that? In the army, military, I know even a lot of households, a lot of people talk to their children about this, but it has been scientifically proven that when you get up and make your bed, first thing, there's a major sense of accomplishment already set for the rest of the day. One thing that took seconds to do is now done. And you walk away knowing that you've accomplished one thing. Subconsciously, you realize this. We don't all stop and think, oh, I made my bed. Sorry, let me pause and rephrase that. Those who have been making their bed permanently for a very, very long time and that do it naturally and with second nature, literally seconds as they get up, they roll over and pull the duvet or tighten up the comforter. Those folks, they don't think twice about it. It's done. They don't spend the rest of their day thinking what they've accomplished. They start accomplishing task after task after task without realizing it because they made their bed. My friends, that is one thing that you can add to your life right now to make you feel good about yourself, is making your bed. You won't even realize it. Those that are introducing making your bed or a new habit, any new habit, into your system, into your life, into your habits, it's going to be a thought at first. And then that thought is going to turn into action. And that action is going to turn into accomplishment. Accomplishment is going to turn into success. The success is the reward that you're looking for because that's going to lead to more success. You've heard me say this before. I'm going to say it again. It's very similar to a body in motion stays in motion. You know, we've all heard what you think about, you act upon. Same thing here. Subconsciously, you are going to be setting yourself up for a wonderful day of success. So what's holding you back from trying that? Nothing? Great. I would love to have everybody who's listening to this send me an email. First name, last name, so Sonia Janice at gmail.com. I'll have you use that one. I challenge every single one of you to send me an email with one thing that you've done differently to set yourself up for success for the day. We talked about 2 quick habits right here that would take no time at all. Eating a healthy breakfast, and we talked about 3 different options: overnight oats, poached eggs, or a smoothie, and how we can prepare and set ourselves up for that. We talked about making our bed. We could add one more element: an 8-ounce glass of water with ice, cayenne pepper, and lemon. You got to try it. It's not as scary as it sounds, and what it does is it actually tells your metabolism it's time to wake up. And it gets it going. And I'm not saying you go on fire, because you can only put like a couple drops of cayenne pepper to still get a benefit. However, the more the better, but make it palatable. Remember, I only encourage you to do the things that you like, to eat the foods you enjoy, to live your best life. And you're not living your best life if you're adding layers and layers and layers of your things you don't enjoy into your life. That's not why you're here. That's not why you joined us today, and that's not why I'm doing this show. I am doing this show to help you identify what is a successful route to take with successful habits, and which ones we can bypass right now to make it through to the next stage. So when we focus on things, they become bigger than life. So when we talk about setting your day up for success, it means those little things that happen may not bother you as much anymore. So go with me here. Just how many times have you got out of bed, tripped over something, banged into something, forgot where the light was, you were so sleepy, there was some sort of response to your action of getting out of bed. And it did not make the experience amazing. So, it made the experience memorable, yeah, for sure, but now you have a stub toe that's maybe black and blue. Maybe it set you off for the day and you were extremely frustrated, and then you go to pour yourself a cup of coffee and you drop it everywhere. The compound effect ripples, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger like a snowball. We don't want your days to start off like that. If you already think something bad is going to happen and you say, oh, great, here comes the rest of my day, or if I get one red light, I'm going to get them all. Things like that, you are actually asking for those red lights. You are actually asking for the rest of your day to be a series of events that you're not looking forward to. So I would like to encourage everybody to change your focus. Think about what you can do to add more love and life into your life. If you get up and take care of yourselves and do things with a sense of accomplishment, it totally changes your outlook if you were to drop that coffee or if you were to stub your toe. You would probably stub your toe, walk by and be like, yeah, whatever, ouch. But, it's done and over with in a minute. Because maybe your favorite song just came on the radio and now you're distracted and you're kind of like subconsciously singing and smiling and your stub toe is forgotten. But if you focus on that stub toe and what you did and everything else you're doing wrong, you're going to really hone in on a problem, which will lead to multiple problems, which will lead to you not having the best day possible. So, choose what you want to focus on, my friends. What do you think about when you want to change something in your day to make it a little bit better than yesterday? There's no room for negative energy at all when you focus on the positive, when you focus on success, when you focus on things that bring laughter and smiles and joy and delight into your life. Let's be honest. You could maybe Grab a cookbook and make your absolute favorite recipe. And that brings smiles to your life and the smell and the sounds and everything that's what you're doing with it. And maybe this isn't the healthiest recipe, but it's your favorite recipe. It brings back memories. It just makes you feel alive. That's okay. Do not stop doing that. If you're looking to lose weight, but this favorite recipe you feel is holding you down, what can you focus on? Okay, let's focus on every emotion making this favorite recipe brings to you. The energy, the thoughts, the memories, the smiles, or is it simply just the smell? I love baking. We're gonna come back to this shortly, but my point for bringing this up is, a lot of you know that I actually have a very strong nutrition background as a healthy eating and weight loss coach. A lot of the meals that I make and prepare are not perfect. I don't expect them to be perfect, but they're a healthier version of what they could actually be. So I'm somewhere in the middle, my friends. We have kids that we're feeding. We have his and hers taste buds. We have different stages of life, and I make it a little bit healthier than the original recipe called for. Or I add a little bit more creativity to it. But I'm still going to eat it. I'm still going to enjoy it. I am still going to add it into my diet. And I am still going to add the pleasures that come with it into my life. Yes, I watch my macros. Yes, I pay attention to what I eat. Yes, I try to keep my body in motion as much as I can. And I try to take care of my mind, just like you do, with all of these different areas. We work on sleep. We work on taking care of other people. We work on working. We work on educating our children. We work on making meals to provide, doing laundry, taking care of the household. We're trying to balance this all in. So if this favorite recipe brings you to a special place and time, even if it's right now and you are so in the moment that you're loving life, because have you noticed that? Have you honestly noticed that when you are in the moment, you are happy? You are living your best life. That's because you're not worried about the future. There's no anxiety about what might come. You're so busy having fun, those thoughts don't even cross your mind, consciously or subconsciously. You're not depressed about the past and the changes that you could have made or what you could have done differently. Not one bit, my friends. When you're living your best life, you are completely living in the moment. I'm not saying you're not financially prepared for the future, but let's talk about that for a second. On the days that you do your budgeting and you look at your finances, how do you feel? Do you procrastinate? Do you get excited about working on that part of your life because it's planning and preparing and you only have to do it once or twice a week or once or twice a month or whatever it looks like to your schedule? I can tell you how I feel. I'm not as in the moment and as excited about that particular time as I am right now. It's not a favorite activity of mine, but I do it for multiple reasons. I'm in control of my money. I decide where it goes. It does not dictate to me where it goes. When I take care of that twice a week is when I look at my finances. When I take care of that twice a week, I'm able to make better decisions and know that I can wait until then to take care of what needs to be taken care of. Third, I have my finger on the pulse, which means for the other 5 days a week, plus 5.5 days a week, because I'm not working on this for 24 hours when I do my budgeting, right? I'm only working on it for a couple of hours, twice a week. So maybe at most 4 hours a week. That's not bad. And I'm doing intensive work because I have intensive plans. But for those of you that are neglecting looking at your finances, that are neglecting looking at your budget, I would like to ask you, why? How is it serving you right now? I just got through sharing that it's not my favorite task. However, it brings me success and joy for the other days of the week. I can relax and let go. I know when we go grocery shopping how much we have to spend. I know how much it costs to run the household. I know if I had extra money to spend, maybe I do, maybe I don't this week. It's hard to say. And I know where I can put it or not do with it or let it save. This time to me is my budget. You taking care of your health and fitness and mindset, there needs to be a similar budget for that too. We all have a certain amount of bandwidth. So when you do things in the moment, it brings joy, hope, challenges, and excitement. That is the same thing when you do things to add success into your life. So if you learn to shift your focus, you can make your day 1% better every single day. Most people that follow me know that healthy eating and weight loss is near and dear to me. Everything from mindset to movement is near and dear to me. And living your best life is near and dear to me. So I want to take a couple of examples and share with you where I'm at and what's going on and how these relate to me right now in all of these different ways. Because creating your best life is all about you. My question to you is, how can you flip the script to make it successful? Will making your bed make it successful? Will coming up with a plan to eat a healthier breakfast tomorrow than you did today, will that make it successful? Will one bit of success be enough to make you want to continue? I bet it will. Because you're going to thrive. You are really going to thrive just by doing one thing. And by continuously doing one thing. And by wanting to learn and by wanting to grow, you are going to see exponential success and happiness and joy in your life. So, Better Together was the name of this episode. Let's talk about how we can blend some things in our life to get that 1% difference and to make it more enjoyable along the way. 1% difference could be losing 1 pound a week over 52 weeks. A pound a week doesn't feel like much, does it? Right? How frustrated are some people when they lose 4 pounds a month after they have removed sugar, removed dairy, removed gluten, been very strict and been eating foods like they do not like. Brussels sprouts every day, baked chicken every day, and rice. Maybe this is all these people are eating and they managed to lose 4 pounds only within a month. That's a pound a week. How frustrated would you be with that? All that hard work, foods you don't enjoy. What if we could make a couple of subtle changes, my friends? What if we could replace foods you don't enjoy with foods that you loved made healthier? Right? Hear me out. What if you add pumpkin to your Aunt Jemima pancake mix and then add a couple scoops of cinnamon and hemp hearts to go with it? Okay. Now maybe you can only eat 2 pancakes with pure maple syrup and a little bit of butter because you're full versus the 4 or 5 you would have eaten plus eggs and maybe hash browns and bacon. Right? What if next week you added a scoop of vanilla protein powder to your pumpkin pancake mix? Now you're making 1 batch for the week because you can only eat 1 pancake a day. Eventually, you're going to want to just whip up your own healthy recipe if that's for you. But you don't have to. My point, my friends, is how can we take the foods we love and make them a little bit healthier? Over a month, losing 4 pounds, especially if you eliminate the foods that you don't like out of your diet and you restrict yourself, losing 4 pounds in a month is frustrating. Yes, it's healthy, but it's frustrating. And are you going to keep going with that result? Probably not. However, with some coaching, with the right mindset, with the right attitude, and with replacing foods that you don't love with foods that you do love but made healthier, and you lost 52 pounds over the course of the year, what would that look like? Think about that for a second. An average 180-pound person. Let's just do quick math. And if we say 50 pounds, that person would now be 130 pounds this time next year. Wow. That, my friends, on average, is a pound a week. Eating the foods you love. Living your best life. Being in the moment. Experiencing joy. Not taking anything off the table. Still making those cookies. Whatever it looks like. We are certainly better together as a client and coach. I can certainly help you get there from mindset to movement. If you want to work on this by yourself, I am here to help and support you along the way. At any time, I can answer any questions. But I do have a challenge for you, and I would love to hear some of your ideas. What can you blend together to make an experience amazing? So, I can tell you, any of my clients that have ever partnered with me, I have made their journey, their wellness journey, a lot more enjoyable. You know, when my clients share stories that their wedding ring fits for the first time, or they've gone from a size 8 to a size 4, or they're able to run. They ran their very first 5K and they never ran before. Those are amazing stories. Those are from real people just like you. Another lady opened up her dream business because we were able to lock arms, come up with the plan, stay on track through accountability techniques, do regular coaching sessions. She's now able to have her own business. I didn't do the work. You did the work. I coached you along the way. Client coach, we are certainly better together, especially a coach who can walk the walk and talk the talk, who knows what it feels like to struggle with food addictions, who knows what it feels like to be a little self-conscious in a relationship because they've made decisions in the past that they're not 100% happy with. Not that they regret, but they're not happy with. A mom who is juggling the demands of three teenage girls, I'll finish that thought. And suddenly you blink and they grow up. And it's not the same as it once was when you weren't sure how you were coming home from work to do the next 5 hours of work because you're by yourself and you're trying to get through. Having a coach like that in your corner and somebody who can financially build you up in more than one way. You know, a coach like that isn't your cheerleader, isn't just your advocate, isn't just your accountability partner, isn't just your mentor. They are your partner in crime. They are what you need to get through this. That is one way we can be better together. There are some other things I do in my day-to-day life that are better together, and I'm going to take a moment and share those with you. The first thing is a perfect match for me, and that is baking or meal prep and listening to my favorite podcasts. Right? So I love baking and I love listening to my podcasts. Typically, I would listen to my podcast while I was driving. Things have changed. I'm not going anywhere, or my very, very, very little places, not even once a week on average. And now one can listen to my podcasts. I listen to them while I'm baking. I'm trying new recipes. Right now, I am working off a recipe book called Fuel Your Day. Part of my plan this year in 2020 was to try a new recipe a week. I am 47 years old, and I just made peanut butter cookies, I think, for the very first time ever, because 2 of my daughters are allergic. Like, wow, we're in the middle of COVID, we're stranded from home, and I get to make something I've never done before. How amazing is that? Check out that perspective, my friends. I could be sitting here crying, like, oh my gosh, I've never made a peanut butter cookie before. Nuh-uh, they're fantastic for those that have never tried them. My kids don't live with me, so you don't have to worry. But Listening to my favorite podcast now while I'm cooking or baking is I can pause, I can reflect, I can come back to it. But the creativity opens me up to inspiration. Plus, I'm learning, I'm smiling, being coached through my podcasts, or I'm laughing, depends on what I'm listening to. But most certainly, I am having fun. So I love baking and listening to my podcast together. That's one of my favorite pairs. My second one, and again, many of you listening to this will appreciate this, is working out outdoors. Love it. Now, I can combine that and expand that to with friends and in the morning, but I don't need to add those two variables. Working out outdoors for me is magic. Just magic. Not only am I getting the musical motivation that I typically always listen to when I'm working out, the exception would be yoga, really. But being outdoors inspires me to pace myself, and so does the music. So both the environment and the motivation that comes through my ears inspire me to pace myself and push myself. I get lost in the music, and it makes me enjoy the movements of my activity and the scenery that surrounds me that much more. So I don't know how many of you have added exercise to the outdoors, but try it. What do you have to lose? Like, what if you could get these kind of extras from things you're doing anyways? All right. Now, I have one more to share. This has been a longer podcast than normal. Well, I guess it's not too bad. But this is probably my favorite activity that I have been doing subconsciously for years. When I say years, I'm probably going back 20 plus years I've been doing this. So I had to think about this. It didn't come to me right away, but daunting chores while catching up with girlfriends. Has anybody else done this one? I know some of my girlfriends have, but I know I'm the queen of this. What I mean by this is I will hop on the phone with a girlfriend, take the time to catch up, and then next thing you know, I have dusted the house. I have washed the windows. I have organized the dressers, and maybe I've organized something else. But I've been known. So this morning alone, I organized my dressers, I dusted, and I did the windows when I was on a conversation with a girlfriend for 20 minutes. I had to go back and finish the drawers in my bedroom because I had done 2 out of 4 drawers, and I wanted to get all 4 done. But wow, right? I will fold laundry. I am notorious for folding laundry when I'm on the phone. I don't listen to music this time. I don't listen to a podcast, but I'm listening to somebody share. And as they're sharing, I am keeping myself busy, but a subtle busy, not a overwhelming busy. So folding laundry doesn't make me think. I just do it second nature, especially when I had the girls and they were younger and we had so much laundry. But it makes it more enjoyable, right? I am doing daunting tasks that I really don't like. Yes, I love having clean laundry. Yes, I love having a clean house. But I don't necessarily like doing the work. But I love talking to my girlfriends, and I don't carve out enough time for them. We don't. Some people go away for girls' weekends. Some girls have families. Some don't. But I know even before COVID, it wasn't a priority. And I feel bad for that. My family was my priority, as with almost everybody else in our careers. And we all know that taking care of ourselves, we're never as close to the top of the list as it should be. So, what are some things in your life that are better together? If you want to have more success, more hope, more results, let's circle back to having the best life that you can. Starting your day off with a little bit of success, such as making the bed or eating a healthy breakfast. Maybe pairing up some of those tasks we talked about, those better together units. I match up daunting chores with catching up with a girlfriend. I match up baking or meal prep with listening to my favorite podcasts, and working out outdoors together and getting some fresh air. Those are the three things I tend to pair up all the time without realizing it, or I have shifted to, and these are now part of my day-to-day. What are you doing? I would love to hear what you're doing today to make your tomorrow a little bit better. What kind of joy are you bringing into your life? How are you living in the moment? And what's keeping you inspired? If you're looking to lock arms, if you're looking to get any more information as to proactive healthy life habits, you know that Fresh Approach Fitness does everything from motivational mindset, taking you from mindset to movement, and how helping me out helps you out, how together we're going through this journey. We are both available for support and accountability to one another. So until next week, my friends, I really hope you can share with me some of your better togethers and how you can make your life one day better tomorrow, what you're going to add to it, and any questions you may have. I am here for you. Thank you so much for a bit of your time and for joining Fresh Approach Fitness, a wellness company, for the episode number 5, Better Together.